Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, don't destroy my sandcastle and you won't break your toe. It's that simple. Friend tried to screw me over, I reverse Uno card her. Getting even with a racist boss who lived to torture me. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Don't destroy my sandcastle and you won't break your toe. It's that simple. I'm at a proper beach for the first time in decades and this story just came up in conversation. I totally forgot about it until today and thrilled there's a sub to share it with. I grew up in California but not close enough to beach to go there often, so it was a major treat for my brother and me. One summer when I was about 8, which would have made my brother about 6 or 7, we were having a blast building sandcastles with our little plastic pails and shovels. We'd found a spot with just the right amount of moisture in the sand for maximum structural integrity. It had towers and a moat and everything. We were about to call our mom over to look at it when this bigger kid, my age or a bit older, did a running jump into the middle of the castle. And he didn't stop there. He kept jumping around and kicking until it was totally leveled, laughing the whole time. I knew when it was pointless to object, so I sat there silently while my little brother cried until the kid finished his destruction and ran off. I hugged my brother and said we'd build another one. He said, tearfully, but he'll just kick it down again. I looked around for a moment and saw a large, flat rock jutting up through the sand, about a foot high in my memory, and seemingly sunk very deep. I told him not to worry and immediately got to work coating the rock in a layer of wet sand. I don't know if my brother understood, but we started rebuilding our masterpiece. We didn't get very far before we saw Big Kid coming and moved out of his way. He did an elaborate spin kick right into the rock and collapsed instantly with a scream, grabbing his foot. I don't remember him saying anything to us, but just dragged himself up and limped away crying. Little brother and I repaired the damage to our castle and continued building happily. My memory is hazy after this, but I feel like I saw a woman, who I assumed was Big Kid's mother, arguing with my mom. Somehow I knew I wouldn't be in trouble, so I didn't worry about it and she never even brought it up with us. I got my sense of poetic retribution from her. Finita, thinking about it now, this basically my only style of revenge. It only occurs at the exact moment someone is being an asshole. I did something similar to my manager who kept eating my prep back when I worked at a restaurant. I kept asking him not to as I carefully portioned my prep and it took time to replace, but he'd just laugh and keep doing it. Eventually, I started hiding my real prep and filling my usual container with leftover prep I dug out of the compost after he'd scraped it off customer plates. Everyone was happy. But I was happier. Edit 2. I was the only woman in the kitchen and he was a boomer. Could I make it any more obvious? Which may be why he never took me seriously any of the 100x I told him to stop. I've switched careers but still drop by there occasionally and plan to tell him one day, when the time feels right. Knowing him, he'll probably say something about how funny it was when I used to nag him about stealing my mice. I'm patient. I can wait. Edit 3, yes, I promise that when that day comes, I will make an update here. Friend tried to screw me over, I reverse Uno card her. This happened when I was in secondary school, about the age of 16. I had been friends with Lisa, not her real name, for just over a year. We spent a lot of time together, we went to the school disco together, spent time at each other's houses, and I thought we were good friends. She always hung out with my friends, but no one actually liked her. I knew that and I always knew they were only nice to her because she was friends with me. Lisa did not know this. After a year of being friends, she was moved to my tutor group. In my school, every school year was split into 6 tutor groups. She had no friends in her tutor group and no one liked her, so she requested to be moved to mine and she was allowed. She always sat with me and my friends and I thought things were going well. One thing I haven't told you yet, Lisa was physically disabled, she used crutches to walk, and the school was very proud to cater to disabled children, so they always allowed Lisa to get away with a lot. Anyway, so one evening, I'm at my home computer and Lisa pops up on MSN. For those who don't know why MSN is, it's an old messaging app that was very popular in the 2000s. I said hi and asked how she was, and out of the blue she turned nasty. The conversation goes as follows. Lisa, Allison, not my real name, you're such a stupid. Me, why am I a stupid? Lisa, think 'cause you are. She then started calling me really horrible names and started saying horrible things. I was shocked. Me, have I done something to upset you? If I have, then I apologize. Lisa, no, I just don't want to be friends with you anymore. I don't need you anymore. I never wanted to be friends with you. No one actually likes you, everyone hates you. Me, okay Lisa, I'm going to give you one chance to apologize. She told me to F off, so I blocked her, but not before I screenshotted out entire conversation. I had a sense I would need these later. But I am the most petty person ever, so I was going to destroy her. She only moved to my tutor group because she had no friends in her old tutor group, so now I was going to make sure she had no friends in my tutor group either. So next day, I went to school, made sure I got there early and showed all of my friends the screenshots that I printed off. I then showed everyone in my tutor group as well. Lisa was always the last to arrive at class. So I waited, I sat with my friends and smiled when she walked through the door. She ignored me as she approached our table. My friends told her they didn't want to be friends with her anymore and told her to go away and she couldn't sit with us. I watched with the biggest smile as everyone else in my tutor group did the same thing. In the end, she sat alone in the furthest corner of the classroom. Every class I attended, I showed everyone the screenshots and watched as Lisa was forced to sit by herself. She kept glaring at me, all I did was smile and wave. Lunchtime came. By now everyone in my half of the year had learnt about the screenshots either through word of mouth or I had shown them the paper. I walked into the canteen and saw Lisa approach multiple tables and was told to go away. She once again had to sit alone. I purposely walked past her and flashed her a grin. The next day, after my first 2 lessons, I was called into the principal's office. I wasn't surprised to find Lisa there with one of the teachers/helpers that supports the disabled children in the school. I was told to sit down and I asked what this was about. The conversation goes as follows. Allison, Lisa has come to me with some disturbing allegations. She says you've been bullying her and thanks to you, she now has no friends. If this is true, you could face being expelled. We don't tolerate bullying of disabled children, the headmaster said to me. I was a good kid at school, never had detention, never got in trouble, had good grades. In short, I was a keener. But I wasn't scared. I turned and saw Lisa smile at me, she thought she had one. I smiled back and her expression quickly changed from smug to worry. Well, actually, headmaster, this all started 2 days ago. Lisa sent me some horrible messages on MSN and she said she didn't want to be friends anymore. I asked for an apology, she refused. All I did was screenshot the horrible messages she sent me and showed them to all my friends because I was so upset. I did try my best to sound as if I was about to cry. My friends then decided they didn't want to be friends with Lisa because why would they want to be friends with someone who sends such horrible messages? As I said this, I pulled out the screenshots from my bag and placed them on his desk. Oh, and this is her email. If you want to check, it's actually her. I pointed to the top of the paper. I then looked at Lisa and smiled. All of the color had drained from her face and she no longer looked smug. The headmaster and the other teacher both looked at me, then looked at Lisa before they both read the screenshots. The headmaster looked up at me. You may go, Allison. Thank you. Bye, Lisa, I waved, smiled, and left the office, leaving the screenshots in the office. From what I heard, Lisa had detention after that. We never spoke again and she spent the rest of the school year alone, no friends and miserable. I reveled watching her suffer and I'm not afraid to admit, it brought me great pleasure to bring her down. Getting even with a racist boss who lived to torture me. This was a long time ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I worked in the regional branch of a bank and was in loans. The district manager had to move the head lender into our branch for observation because he had 4 processors quit on him within 6 months. So I was number 5. This guy was hated at our bank. He treated fellow workers incredibly disrespectfully and was a flaming racist. One of his rants, not kidding, was that the bleeping Jews stole Passover from the Christians. So also not so bright. Well, my district manager ended up loving him and he lived to drive me crazy. One day he had this obnoxious singing tie that he played. I obviously cringed, so he decided to play it over. And over. And over. In between customers. In between phone calls. And smiled huge because he knew I was absolutely silently seething. So I finally decided I had enough. I told him if he could go the rest of the day without playing it, I would buy him a case of literally any case of beer of his choosing. Anything. He immediately jumped on it and then spent the rest of the day musing out loud about what the most expensive beer was, max number of bottles, all the different ways he could gouge me the most, while laughing like it was the funniest thing ever. I silently took it and didn't say a single word, no matter how outrageous his comments. His constant at my expense comments. After 6.5 straight hours of this, the clock finally hit end of day. At that point he jumped up and started telling me what he had decided his beer of choice would be. To which I replied, April's Fools. To say he was angry is an understatement. He didn't speak to me for a month. Which was awesome. The district manager was equally enraged. Everyone else high-fived me for weeks. I ended up quitting not too long after, but I will admit it was so satisfying. Petty? Yes. But so deserved. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.